There was a technical glitch in my first section. So I told them, okay, you guys can take it at home, which means I had to let my other sections do the same. Uh, it wasn't surprising that average grade was higher. I had students who had 35 in the first exam, and once you find out the nature of my exams, a monkey who's randomly guessing the answers should get a 32 in that exam. Okay, so the so-called monkey value of the exam was 32. The student got a 35. That student got a 97 and a half in the second exam. Either A, he or she did not do it themselves, or B, Chat GPT baby or AI baby. Okay. If all you care is getting a grade, take an online class. That's the least resistance path to A. You're not going to learn crap. If you're fine with that, I'm fine with that. They pay me exactly the same whether you learn or not. That shouldn't be the case, but it is. As HR majors, you should know about that. I should have an incentive to teach you guys. I'm already tenured. What are they going to? The worst thing they're going to do to me is not give me a raise or give me a raise that is under inflation. We've been doing that the last 20 years. Anyway, this is my 20th year at EKU. Unfortunately, this place should be run like a corporation. It's not. So if my students are not learning, they should punish me for it. They don't. If my students are learning, do I get any reward? Maybe a little. But how do I communicate that? The measurements are horrible. Student evaluations do not mean anything. They typically reflect the average grade in the class or average grade of the students who choose to turn in the student evaluations. The statistician, I hate those. Anyway, so lecture at home is your first part. And these are going to be 15% of grades. So if you complete all of them, you're going to get your 15%. That's it. There is no leakage as long as you complete them. Attendance, this is straight attendance, 10%. If you come to class late without a valid excuse, I'm going to mark you with 1/3 of a day for attendance. Late means you came in after I was done with attendance. So with 42 people, that gives you a few minutes. And every day we're not going to discuss our life plans. So it typically takes me at close to 2 minutes anyway. And I typically wait a few minutes before I start. But if you come in 10 minutes late, marked. If you have a valid excuse, you can communicate to me after class. I have ways to undo those marks. If you also leave the class without taking my prior permission from me, I'm going to mark you a quarter day of absence. Things happen. You may have to leave. Fine, just get my permission. I mean, if it's an emergency, just leave. You can tell me later. But, you know, something happened, you need to leave, just let me know. All right. And with absence, you may have a valid excuse. I need documentation of valid university excuses. Okay. My church is doing something and I'm going there. Unfortunately, it's not a valid university excuse. Why? Because this happens to be a state school, and the First Amendment says we do not know anything about the religion. Okay. I mean, you may be Christian, you may be Hindu, Muslim, atheist, agnostic, or you worship cream cheese. I don't care. It's your business. But who you choose to worship has no place in this class. Okay? I'll respect you for it, but it doesn't determine whether or not you should be excused. All right. If you choose not to come here because you're going to go into a church trip, mission trip, that's your business. You're choosing not to come to class, right? But you're sick, you had an accident, all that sort of stuff. But still, I'll still give you guys two jokers for 2 days of absence. You don't need to provide excuse. But if I were you, I would save them when I actually want to spend them. The one day you felt like, I don't want to go to school. You don't come and you say, I'm not coming to school. That's your one of your jokers that you spend. So I give you guys two of those. All right. Now, attendance 10%, you're thinking, it's not too bad if I miss half of the class because I'm not interested in getting an A anyway. There's no way you're going to get an A if you're missing half of the classes, uh, unless you're someone like me. I got A's in classes that I didn't even see the face of the professor because it was the topic that interested me. I could study on my own. Uh, we're going to have class participation. You're probably thinking, that sounds very abstract. No, I actually developed an Excel sheet to do just that. Okay. I haven't finalized it yet, but I'll show you how it kind of looks. Let's see. Okay. I don't think it's getting the right roster. It should. Oh, okay. And remember, on Thursdays, I'm going to post stuff that you're going to study at home. On Tuesdays, we will actually do a discussion there on that topic. We're going to discuss, relevant stuff. Sometimes it may be related to the market, some sort of corporate issue, but we're going to do a general discussion. I'm going to have some discussion questions. Some of the questions are for individuals. Some of the questions, and I'm going to put you guys in groups of four. For groups, for example, if I'm saying, here's a little problem, you guys work on it as a group, and you must have seen it in the videos that I did similar problems, then I'm going to ask one of the groups, probably randomly, to give me an answer and to kind of talk about it. Suppose, the first topic is going to be balance sheet. I'm going to have a discussion question. Depreciation, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Okay. If you know anything about Jimi Hendrix, you know what that means. He had a little song called War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. This is 1968. It's talking about the Vietnam War. So I'm going to randomly, come on. Oh, that's a random selection. Randomly pick one of you. I'll slow it down a little bit. Technically, it's actually doing a random number of draws between 1,000 and 1,500 times. If I do only two draws, that thing never shuffles through anything. It's too fast. But if I do 200, I just put it for the effect. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. So let's do another draw. So I'm going to say, Lauren, what do you think about that? Okay. Was Jimi Hendrix right? Good or bad? In a lot of questions, there's not necessarily a correct answer unless I'm asking you a definition. I'm asking your opinion. Whether or not the answer you're given is the right question, right answer to the question, in and of itself does not interest me. This is not an exam. I want to know how you think about stuff. Okay? I want to know how you communicate that thought. If I ask you a question and ask you, why is the answer five? If you answer me, oh, because I put it in the formula, it came out five. That is Completely true, but a completely useless statement. It doesn't communicate anything to be about how you think about stuff. How matters, why matters, understanding matters. You know, back in the days before Google, I was kind of a legend in high school for knowing all the capitals of the world's countries, all the capitals of US states, the Soviet republics, and the Yugoslav republics, which don't even exist anymore. To this day, when I see some of my friends in high school, they say, what's the capital of Papua New Guinea? Port Moresby. Okay. But that is a completely useless skill. You know, it's kind of a circus, right? It's useful. It, it actually helps you get some good dates when you're younger, but that's about it. Yeah, it's something to show that you're different. I could also square numbers that are in 5, 4, and 6 in my head quickly. Does that mean that I'm any better than you are? No. You can do that in a calculator. In some cases, I'm faster than you, but who cares? How fast you got the answer doesn't matter. Okay? How you got the answer and what you think that answer means. The answer is 42, but what is the 42? Okay? You know, one of the most famous constants in mathematics is roughly about 1.618. That is known as the golden ratio. That number is very famous for a lot of different reasons. For example, if you know that that number is the limit of the ratio of two successive Fibonacci numbers, what? You guys know what Fibonacci sequence is? The next number is the sum of the two previous numbers. Okay? So it's 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and goes on. Okay? They're very important in technical analysis, for example. A lot of this stuff in the nature acts somewhat like a Fibonacci sequence. A lot of the chaotic processes or fractal processes look like Fibonacci processes. Now suddenly you know something. Okay. Do you know why Einstein is considered a genius? Not because it took him 10 years to go from special relativity to general relativity. He had to learn the geometry of non-Euclidean spaces. He didn't know, and he had to introduce time as a fourth coordinate, so on and so forth. He's considered a genius because of his one simple insight. He asked the question Newton never asked. Newton was great at describing how gravity works. If you know the mass of Earth, mass of Sun, current location of Earth, using Newton's differential equations, you can calculate where Earth is going to be 200 years from today with a lot of precision. Okay? But Newton didn't tell you where gravity came from. Einstein actually asked that question. Where does it come from?